Det finns goda förutsättningar att göra whisky i Sverige. Vi har väldigt bra korn, vi har bra vatten och whiskyn kan lagras på svenska ekfat. Allt startade med att det var 8 studiekamrater som hade en träff och där kom de på den här fantastiska idén att göra en svensk whisky baserad på svenska råvaror. Det var grunden till Mackmyra som startade 1999. Vi försöker tillverka whisky på ett så modernt och effektivt och miljövänligt sätt som möjligt. Och för att kunna göra det så har vi byggt världens mest klimatsmarta destilleri.
Från pelletsanläggningen får vi 125-gradigt vatten som vi använder när vi destillerar och för att få upp temperaturen i pannorna. Hetvattnet ger ju oss en jämn temperatur under hela koket. Och det gör att vi får korta koktider och en väldigt bra produkt i slutändan. Att pelletsanläggningen ligger nära destilleriet är ju en stor fördel. Både ekonomiskt och driftsmässigt för oss. Sen dessutom så är det helt i linje med hur vi ser på miljö och innovation.
Vi gör whiskyn enligt konstens alla regler, men vi gör det på vårt vis och med svenska råvaror. Vi framställer den på ett innovativt sätt och med nyfikenhet och med så lite miljöpåverkan som möjligt. Det är för oss en självklarhet.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
There we go.
And welcome. What a great video. So throughout this, throughout Stephen's tasting, we're going to put what you just read in Swedish. We're going to explain most of that to you and have a few drams on the way. So I'll be the main host of this evening. My name is Mickey and my partner in crime is Carl.
Carl Ostermack on Instagram if you want to give me some follows, on that social game. Welcome everybody, welcome along. Hope you got your drums ready and are looking forward to a nice, fun, relaxed evening.
So, first to do, let's give our lovely people out there a wee present, Carl, shall we? So, guys, this evening on our web shop www.mackmyra.co.uk, if you spend £50 or over, you enter the code VIP10, you'll get £10 off. And if you spend over £100, enter the code VIP20 and get £20 off. You'll see it going through the screen through this tasting. It will be in the video description, and we'll mention it again as we're coming to a close at the end of the video. At the end of the video? At the end of the
stream video.
Just talking about
talking
the video again,
Yeah.
No,
we all know what you meant.
So this evening, guys, we're going to go through the 5 drams from our tasted pack. Hello, Eleanor. Hello, Matt. We're going to go through the 5 drams that you got in your tasting pack, guys. It's not going to be in the order that you see in the pack, though.
Just to make it up.
We're going to start with Brooks, then go on to Mack, then Svensk Jech, then our new release, Jaktlycka.
Yep.
And then we're going to finish off with the smokiest one of the evening, Svensk Grugg. Okay, so yeah, that's what we've got. That's what we're going to do.
That's pretty much a good rundown of everything. Yeah, just to say as well, I've already seen quite a few people tapping away in the comments as well. So if you're along with us live, we want to make this as much as possible an interactive experience. In the normal world, we'd love to be out there with you, chatting to you face to face and whatnot. But obviously, situation being what it can, we'll do the next best thing and do it through the joy of the interwebs. So yeah, if you're tasting along with us live, please make sure you leave us any comments, ask us any questions you've got. We'll endeavour to answer the questions on stream. We've also got Shane in the background for us as well, answering some of those questions. So yeah, far away, get interactive. Yeah, get as interactive as you can, guys. We really want to make it sort of back and forth thing. So yeah, sorry, mate. Over to you, bud.
That's okay. So if you're new here, let's start at the beginning. The idea to produce a Swedish whiskey, like you saw in the video, was conceived by 8 friends in a mountain cabin back in 1998. So to ensure they stayed in touch after studying engineering together, the group had a tradition of meeting up in Salem every year. This time, though, in 1998, just purely by chance, everybody actually bought along a bottle of whiskey. They didn't pre-arrange it. They just found the whiskey and they all bought a bottle of whiskey with them. So during dinner, one of them wondered why there was no Swedish malt whiskey. And, if it was possible, why hadn't anyone already done it? The question remained unanswered, but before long, the vision to become pioneers and produce the first Swedish malt whiskey took shape. And then 1 year later, in December 1999, Mackmyra Svenska Whiskey was established. So without further ado, guys, that's our first distillery there, which we'll get into now. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Carl, and we'll get into the first whiskey, guys.
Let's get started. We're going to do loads more about sort of like the history and the journey and how we make our whiskey and everything like that. But want to make sure you've got a whiskey in your mouth while we're doing it as well. So let's get straight into the pouring. So as Ricky's mentioned, we're starting with the Brooks whiskey. So give yourself a little pour of this one. This one is 41.4% alcohol by volume. This is what we guess we call our classic kind of breakfast whiskey, as we refer to it as in-house. Really nice, light, easy, great one to start the day on, start the tasting on. So this has a balanced character, notes of fruit and butterscotch. So if you want to get your nose in, butterscotch, citrus, pear, they're all notes you'll see as a through line as well for a lot of Mackmyra stuff, especially pear. Get a little bit of licorice and banana. It's clean and light. Get a little bit on your palate. Oh, lovely. Fresh, fruity. A little bit of pepperiness, a little touch of spice just on the back end there. That's where that kind of spicy oak sort of develops towards the back end of things. A little bit of apple pie perhaps, but it is broadly designed to be quite light, quite nimble, quite easy to drink. It's a real crowd pleaser, this one, and I think one of my favourites, mate. What's your takeaway on it, Mick? What's your kind of?
Yeah, no, I really like it. Every time I keep going back to this one, I keep finding that I'm getting better at smelling them. As my whiskey journey's coming on and that as well. But I'm getting better at actually finding in the dram what I should be finding.
Oh yeah. I get you.
What the official tasting note says there. So that's good. And it is, and you're right, it is light. It's easy going. There's pears. I get a little bit of foam bananas as well. The sweets.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
So foam bananas as well, which I quite like that. So.
Definitely.
It is a favourite. It's a good start to any session. Really.
Yeah. And Stuart just mentioned about breakfast at 7 p.m. Yeah, to be fair, mate, breakfast for dinner, for supper, I'll have bacon and eggs any time of the day. But yeah,
night shift.
Yeah. The idea is it's a lovely, light, easy, fresh, vibrant one to kind of get started on, to start your whiskey drinking session, as it were. Yeah, sherbet on the nose, exactly. That lovely, fresh sweetness is something you're going to pull out of it. One thing you will notice, as a kind of through line, I guess, for Mackmyra's whiskey, is that we don't sort of specifically hone in on sort of what age the whiskey specifically is. We're trying to create a flavour profile with our whiskey, and that comes from sort of different marriage of casks as well. And we're happy to be experimental with that where possible. In this one in particular, we've got 200 litre first fill bourbon oak, 100 litre Swedish oak, 100 litre sherry cask, 200 litre ex bourbon cask in there as well. So there's quite a cacophony of cask influence in there as well, and it's all about getting that really nice, light, easy to drink profile. So from the outset, I guess Mackmyra was designed, fully focused on creating a whiskey that was quintessentially Swedish. And the journey began with sort of using local barley, local spring water, and especially Swedish oak. We'll hear a bit more about Swedish oak in a little bit and why that is particularly significant into what it does versus things like American oak, for example. And then, thanks to a lucky coincidence, 30 litre cask Mackmyra developed, which in its smaller format allows the whiskey to mature more intensively. And when you get more intense maturation, you don't need as much time to pull out the full flavour. Our first proper distillery, Gävle, was at Mackmyra Brook, and that was 12 kilometres west of Mackmyra. West of Gävle. Put my teeth in. Mackmyra translates to midge swamp, and brook translates for industrial/useful. We moved into a building that was previously a mill, as you can see on screen, and a power station. And our pot stills came from Forsyth in Scotland. In 2010, Brooks Whisky became our second core product after the first edition, which became Svensk Ek. So yeah, just a few little bits of our background and tidbits for you there, and a few images as well to show sort of the early stages of our journey. It's quite interesting actually how far we've come in such a relatively short amount of time as Mick, do you think? He asks as I was just saying how far we've come in sort of such a relatively short amount of time.
So December this year will be 21.
Yeah.
You know, we've got our standard four in the core range. You know, we released since 2013. We released 2 seasonals a year. We've got partnerships with like Motorhead and Scorpions.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got our moments range as well. You know, we've got quite a lot going on. So we're producing enough liquid to be able to supply that as well, which I think is phenomenal. Yeah. So Dave, coming to the age of the whiskey. So like Carl alluded to, there's a non-age statement. But the whiskey, on average, in Brooks is about the 8-year mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 8 to 9. I think it's about 8 to 9. Some a little bit younger. Hi, Helen. Some a little bit older, but on average, it's probably about the 7 to 8 year mark.
Yeah, definitely. Foam banana, penny sweets. Yeah, keep dropping in your what notes you're getting as well from it. So foam bananas.
What I like about Brooks is it's quite versatile. Earlier on today, myself and Carl, in preparation for this evening, we were talking about stuff. So Brooks is on the lighter side of chill filtered, basically. So it's not quite as heavy as some whiskies are, but to keep it looking well throughout our range, throughout the globe, throughout the markets, basically. We use a certain element of chill filtration. It's naturally coloured, but we do use a bit of chill filtration. So what does that do to the whiskey? So some of the fatty esters that are in it, that if you had a drop of water or a bit of coldness, can make your whiskey go a bit cloudy. So what I did earlier on was actually put a bottle of Brooks in the freezer. So about 1 o'clock this afternoon, I pulled it out the freezer about 15 minutes ago. So I don't know how this is going to go. I'll be honest, I don't know how this is going to go. So here's the bottle. You can see.
Oh, look at that! Looks pretty sick.
Proper frozen. So
the frost around it. Yeah, that looks pretty awesome.
So this is how you can tell it's not properly all the way down chill filtered, because there is still a little bit of cloudiness in there.
Yeah.
So that's where some of those flavour profiles, the esters, the fatty esters that are in there, have actually shrunken up. Basically, I can't hold the bottle properly; it's going to sleed out my hand. So that was quite interesting. So I'm going to try this.
Yeah,
so
Matt's saying, really nice, clean white wine, citrus whiskies. Yeah, fresh, light, clean, easy. Yeah, definitely. Definitely through lines of that.
Like treacle.
Okay, interesting.
That poured like treacle.
Interesting.
Look at that.
That looks nice in the glass. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that looks fantastic. You can tell there's a haze going through it.
Yeah.
So that's how you can tell it's not all the way properly chill filtered, because you've still got those esters in there, which is what's making that haziness. It's like if you drop a bit of water into olive oil and you get that haze going through it. It's a similar chemical reaction.
Yeah.
I mean that's just making the glass dead cold as well. That's starting to frost up. Right, let's see how. So most of the flavors are really muted. You can smell a little bit of sweetness.
Okay.
It's not quite vanilla sweet, so it's not quite that sweet. But you can tell. So obviously, but this has been out of the freezer for about 15 minutes. If that took it straight out, I'd probably smell nothing.
Any change?
That is a fantastic experience.
Okay.
That instant cold mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Is just phenomenal.
Okay.
So
nice.
It's 41.4%, right? But obviously, and it doesn't feel like that whatsoever. That could be dangerous. That tastes a bit like juice. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
But no,
David
so
was just
obviously
asking.
all the flavors we're not going to get.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Price of Brooks. 40. I want to say 43 pound.
Yeah, 43. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say 40. I'm going to say 43.
I feel like we should know that off the top of our heads.
We should.
We'll be put on the spot
Honestly,
there. One of the guys in the chat will confirm that if it's the definite price for it on the web shop. But we think it's around 43.
Oh, guys, honestly, right? If you've got anything left of your sample, so only pour a small bit of your sample, right?
Yeah.
And then go and bang it in the freezer, and then come back to it in a couple of hours' time, or tomorrow, because obviously it's alcohol, so it's not going to freeze.
Yeah.
But it does get thicker, and that's why it poured like treacle.
I'll say Stuart was saying in the comments, in Sweden you could probably just set it outside in the winter and it'd get the same effect, to be fair.
100%.
And to be fair, I should preface a little bit as well, because we've gone sort of straight in the first whiskey, trying it in the freezer. I've got a little one on the rocks here to try alongside as well. Like, so one of the key things you'll hear about sort of drinking whiskey is like, what's the right way to drink it? You know, how should I drink it? You know, you should drink it this way, that way. We're not about that here at Mackmyra. We're about enjoying it the way you want to enjoy it. It's designed to be enjoyed however you want to play with it. So if you want to try something like put it in the freezer, or if you want to try drink it over ice, or we've got a couple of fantastic brand ambassadors who are great at making cocktails who like to experiment with us as well. So it's all about enjoying it the way you want to drink it. Absolutely.
That might be my brand new. Just see when we're doing tasting the future, Cole.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to bother just having it. It's just everything. My Brooks is now going to get kept in the freezer permanently, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a bigger freezer.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, there you go. So thank you for coming from confirming for that, guys. Yeah, so 43.50. So we were just about there. We're giving people a 50p discount, Mick.
That's okay. If you're selling enough, I'll pay it. It's fine.
Yeah. And to be fair,
I don't get paid that.
we've got, as you see, run on the bottom as well. We've got the two offers on. So yeah, if you spend 50 quid, use the code VIP10 to get £10 off. Use the code VIP20 if you spend 100 quid to get £20 off. You can't say fairer than that.
You certainly can't. You certainly cannot.
Drop a ginger beer.
Yeah,
no,
definitely.
That would totally work.
Yeah. So we've experimented, obviously, individually before as well. And a ginger ale is probably a better one. The ginger ale is a little bit lighter than the ginger beer. The ginger ale probably fits the profile a little bit better. But if you're a big ginger beer fan, then yeah, definitely get a kick to it with some Brooks and that in there. So yeah, no, honestly, guys, bang your Brooks in the freezer. That is fantastic. A lot of the flavors are muted, but it's such a lovely mouthfeel. Yeah, they still get some pleasant flavors coming through, like a light green apple. That's coming through. I've lost the foam banana. The foam banana's not there anymore. But
so for me, mate, the cold with the ice is kind of accentuating that kind of fresh note, that kind of bright, zesty, almost lemon, kind of like citrusy. Nice.
Yeah, that's good. That could get dangerous. That one.
So it's all about experimenting, isn't it? That's the thing.
You have to invest in a champagne ice bucket, I think. So then, like, if you have a couple of people around when the laws allow, when
they've been permits,
take your Brooks out the freezer and then just keep it in the ice bucket, so you don't have to keep going backwards and forwards to the freezer.
Nice. Are we good to roll on to number 2?
We shall. Yes. Let me just grab it from my lovely shelf of work behind.
Do you want to grab? So guys, we're going to move on to the. You set up nice and under this. We're going to move on to the Mac. Mickey, take it away, Mum.
I certainly will. So, Mac by Mackmyra. It's our 40%. So this is chill filtered all the way. This is color corrected as well. What this does, just allow consistency through our markets, guys. Like I spoke about why we do partial chill filtration on Brooks. It keeps the tax down, so that therefore keeps the prices down, and we can get it out to more people. Basically, it's an affordable whiskey. Comes in at the £37 mark, so below 40 quid anyway. It was designed for bartenders, basically. Yeah, so we've got this liquid that we filled. It's 40%, and it's all American oak. That's virgin American oak as well. This has gradually got older as the distillery's got older as well. So when we launched Mac, it was about the 3 to 4 year mark. That has to be 3 years at minimum. And now the average age is probably about 6 or 7. Yeah, so we have got some older liquid in there, but we've got a few bits of younger liquid in there. What Cole alluded to earlier, we're going for a flavour profile that's consistent throughout time. So you shouldn't really get variations in batches, etc. So a bottle of Mac from 3 years ago should taste like a bottle of Mac now.
Yeah.
That's the idea anyway. So that you can, if you're really, really good, you can pick up slight variations, but that's just life. It's not going to be dramatic. It's not going to be, oh, I like that one week, or no, I don't like it the next week sort of thing, It should still be fairly consistent. So it is an artisanal single malt made only from Swedish ingredients. Mac is great in cocktails, but also on its own, straight or over ice. Again, Mac is very, very versatile like Brooks, but it's just got that deeper, darker colour. So when you're making things like an old-fashioned, so let's just put old-fashioned. That's probably one of the most popular whiskey cocktails out there, Cole, isn't it, really,
Yeah, 100%.
Make an old-fashioned, you've got that colour there, that makes it look appealing, and because old-fashions were first made with bourbon, I think. Not a cocktail expert, but any long shot. But please, if I am wrong, please do tell me, guys. That would be lovely. But no, so today, Mackmyra produces whiskey with the same curiosity and experimental zeal as back in 1999. We're trailblazers at the end of the day. But now in the groundbreaking gravity distillery, which harnesses the force of gravity to aid production and is designed to substantially reduce the carbon footprint. Guided by the historical knowledge of whiskey production, Mackmyra employs its own methods to create innovative products using Swedish ingredients. Mac was the very first release to be made entirely at the Gravity Distillery. So the eco-friendly Gravity Distillery in Mackmyra Whiskey Village, which is in Gävle, was completed in 2011. Back in 2011, becoming the company's second full-scale distillery. At the back of the distillery are 2 large silos, each filled with around 40 tons of malt. One holds our smoked malt, our Rook recipe, and the other one holds our unsmoked malt, or our elegant recipe. So on the first phase of production, it sees the malt, as you can see in the video, it sees the malt raised up to the top of the 35-metre tall distillery. Harnessing the force of gravity between the different phases of production, the ingredients are then transported downwards, undergoing a new phase on each level. So you can see it up there, guys. Yeah, you can see it comes in at the top, and you go for the milling process, then into the mash tun, other waters, into fermentation, down to the still house, etc. That you can see there. So during the 5 stages, malted barley, yeast and water are processed into a finished new made spirit, or Vitland. We actually release our new spirit at 46.1%, called Vitland, which is a great base for cocktails, by the way, guys, and we sell that on the web shop as well. So although the distillery simplifies large parts of the production process, separating the heart, which is the usable part, it's a craft. It takes a skilled person. So it takes. There's Jimmy there, one of the stillmen at Mackmyra. And he's cutting. He's cutting the head away from the heart there. So with a well-honed sense of smell, the distiller seeks aromas that indicate when the time is right to cut the head, heart, and tail. The first distillate to appear is known as the head and displays an intensely coarse aroma. After about 20 minutes or so, when the scent becomes a bit purer and loses its aggression, it's time to cut the heart. So this mild and soft fragrance begins to change character, evoking hay and grass, the fresh notes that we get. And then it's time to cut the tail in, because by the time we get to the tail, the ABVs drop right down. So we're essentially just adding water and some other rubbish in the back end. So Mackmyra's wash still holds 10,000 litres. That's called the weak one. And our spirit still, called the strong one, has a capacity of 8,000 litres. So once the distillate has passed through both stills and the heart has been separated, the final product comprises of about 800 litres of 70% ABV raw spirit. Obviously, we don't fill it into casks at 70%. That would destroy your wood pretty quickly. But so we add a touch of our local Swedish water to take it down to 73%. Industry average is about 63.5. Dave, if
get in line, David. Get in line, mate.
If you don't mind moving to Sweden, go for your life, brother. Go for your life. So we actually fill our casks at 63%, and then that goes into our warehouses, etc. The control room receives data about our production from each batch, tracking everything from production times and temperatures to volumes of ingredients. You know, the journey from unmilled malt to finished distillate that gets put into casks is approximately 8 days. So for all the geekatrons out there that are a little bit like me, our fermentation time is about 4 days. Yeah. In case anybody wanted to break that up. Fizzy cola bottles on the nose.
I was just say, some of the notes, fizzy cola bottles, candy floss, caramel, there's definitely more of that kind of rich sweetness, sugary sweetness on the Mac. Definitely, yeah.
So guys, we're getting that right. We get that from the oak. Yeah. So if you think about a bourbon and the sweetness you get from a bourbon, that's roughly what we're getting here. Obviously, it's different because the mash bill is different. So we use malted barley, where obviously bourbon uses like 51% corn or rye, depending on the variety of, and there will be malted barley in there. Strum those on. Richard fancies
it's a decorative piano. This is it's decorative. We're not playing that tonight. Ask me again after the Svensk Rook when we get to whiskey number 5. Maybe we'll see.
we'll make up the keys.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, ask me in a few more whiskies.
So the sweetnesses that you find in bourbons come from because it comes from virgin white oak, virgin American white oak. So all the vanillins, so the lignins, once they're toasted, then become vanillins once that starts seeping into there. So that's where you get a lot of those sweetnesses from. Mac is it is lovely.
Someone asked earlier as well how much is the price on this. Was this one's 34 quid as well? 34 quid. So again, really affordable. So in terms of price, it's kind of our entry into our range.
And guys, this is a single malt.
Yeah.
It's not blended. It's not a blended malt or anything like that.
Nope.
This is a single malt. Okay. So, but that price point comes in, just over like things like Monkey Shoulder, etc., which is a blended malt. Yeah. Things like that. They are a little bit cheaper. But this, remember guys, £34 for a single malt. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. What's your flavour profiles of this one, Carl? What do you get?
Yeah, so I think it's just a sweet, fruity accessibility. And it's like some people have said about candy floss, caramels. Those kind of caramels, a little bit of butterscotch, sort of a little bit of light honey maybe in there as well. But I think the difference for me between the Brooks, for example, versus like the Mac is that you get more of that kind of sugary sweetness, where I feel like the Brook gives you a bit more kind of like fruit sweetness, like quite kind of sharp, slightly tart, citrusy sweetness. But again, both of these two, I think they're quite interchangeable in that respect as well for doing a tasting. You could drink the Mac first and then the Brooks, or the Brooks and then the Mac. It's quite interchangeable. They're both lovely, easy drinking whiskies. Great ones to warm up on. Absolutely. And ones you can drink sort of 2-3 of in a night and, not overly complicate your palate, I guess it were. Yeah, a lot of people trying to do this freezer experiment, Mick. I think we've set a trend here.
That's okay. That's what we do, mate. We're innovative. We lead from the front. I'd like to claim that I was the very first person to think of putting whiskey in the freezer. Guys, I'm not. I'm certainly not going to try and claim that one before everybody jumps in and goes, Mickey, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. No, you're right. I was not.
Absolutely.
Yes, Eleanor. Yes, absolutely, Eleanor.
Absolutely, so,
Eleanor is the main marketing lady at Glasgow Distillery.
Nice.
They produced 1770.
Welcome.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, let us know. Is there anybody else got any comments about Mac before we move on? Oh,
well, that's them. I forgot. Yeah, well, that's about to come along. Pause for frantic typing.
And that's the thing about doing these tastings. It's great we can get to many more people.
Yeah.
But we can't see your faces, guys. Sometimes you just can't be bothered to type the question. Can I have a T-shirt? They're available for sale on the website now. Yeah. So make sure onto the website, my friend, and don't forget your VIP 10 for £50, £10 off £50, and VIP 20 for £20 off £100 sales there. So don't forget.
Yes, mate.
We have T-shirts. Yes, I don't blame you, Stuart. Yes, let's get on with the next one. Cole, over to you.
Next drum. Yes, mate. So we're going to move on to the Svensk Ek. So Svensk Ek literally translates to Swedish oak. Ek is oak. So this one is a bit of a jump up for us as well in terms of the two you just had. So you're at 40% and then 41.4%. This one comes in at our signature 46.1% as well. And you probably get a little bit of that on the nose as well. So go in quite gently with it because it is different, certainly quite different from the first two you've had. Again, non-aged. In terms of casking profile, you've got ex-bourbon and you've got Oloroso cask in there, but you've also got 10% of the profile of this one is 100% Swedish oak casks. Okay, so 10% of the overall liquid that goes into this is 100% Swedish oak cask, and that adds an interesting dynamic to it, and you'll get into that as you sort of try it. It has a spicy character, so think things like sandalwood, maybe a little bit of dried ginger, black pepper, roasted oak, and herbs, that kind of thing. And these are the way these spicy aromas kind of come from, specifically the Swedish oak. But you also complement that with sort of fruity undertones of vanilla. There's a little bit of toffee in there, caramel and honey. And it has spent around 18 months, I think it's 18 months, isn't it, Mick, in the Swedish oak cask itself. So it doesn't need a massive amount of time to actually pull out the characteristics of the Swedish oak into that whiskey. So let's get in there. It's interesting you pull that face, isn't it? Because there's more of a hit.
Sorry, mate. I was just
reminding
myself of the viscosity of the frozen Brooks again. I just had
one of
those. That's what that was just.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
Fair enough. I misread you there. But yeah, again, that spiciness straight away on the palate. Like I say, sandalwood, dry ginger, black pepper, it's all in there. But you've still got the kind of fruity smoothness underneath. And it ends, interesting, Horlicks.
So I think obviously Horlicks is
I think it's the bread notes. Yeah, the malty bread notes,
You get a lot of malt flavours. A lot of malt on the nose from that one. Yeah, so yeah, I get that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the link there because I was thinking like kind of bready.
Yes.
Nice with curry. I like it.
Somebody said that the other week on the tasting as well.
Yes, they did, didn't they? Yeah.
I think it was Shane. I can't remember, but they said they quite like the spiciness of Svensk Ek.
The woody spice.
With the ruby.
Yeah, with the aromatic spice. Yeah. Do you get any? So one of the notes is dark chocolate on the finish. I get a little, but that comes through right at the end for me.
Dark chocolate. I am rubbish at picking up dark chocolate. Yeah. See, unless I've actually got some like 70 or 80% cocoa in front of me, I'm really honestly, it's one of those tasting notes that I just don't get unless I'm obviously eating chocolate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just one of those ones I don't get.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, there is that kind of rich, dark sweetness in the back end. I mean, very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, so I guess a bit more about the Svensk Ek in terms of the history. So, in approximately, I think it was 1830, so soon after the Napoleonic Wars, the Swedish Crown sent out a delegation to go and search for the ideal spot to plant oak trees, basically with the idea that you're going to produce future warships. And three of the emissaries came back with a small croft on Visingsö Island. Visingsö Island, a narrow island in the middle of Lake Vättern, Sweden's second largest lake. And here they spied 3 magnificent oaks just outside an old woman's farmhouse. So they took one of the trees back to Stockholm, and it didn't take much to convince the Swedish Royal Navy that Visingsö had the perfect conditions for lumber production. And over the next 10,000... Say again?
So just look at that. That just looks fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It looks incredible. And knowing that's all oaks, but I do a lot of work with wood. So yeah, just to be in and around all that much oak would, it'd definitely be special. But over the next 10 years, you can probably see it in the image there. 300,000 trees were planted, and due to the climate being colder in the winter than in the UK, the lake's water. Sorry, where am I? Due to the climate being colder in the winter than the UK in the summer, being warmer yet the lake's water surface always being cold and the weather being quite dry most of the year, with the summer being relatively wet, this makes the trees go quite slowly. Basically, the climate is quite difficult for the trees to dry, for the trees to grow. Yeah. So it's harsh. It's harsh, northern hemisphere climate. And because of that harshness, you get less of that... you get less xylose and lignin, I believe it is, and that's what presents the wood sugars. So things like North American oak, bourbon, etc., you get a lot of vanilla sweetness kind of coming through in their oak. Because of the harsh climate of the Swedish oak, you get more of the spicy characters, the sandalwood, the ginger, the black pepper. Those kind of characteristics are the kind of things that that come out in this. And so with those characteristics, so we've got all those trees planted. You think, great, brilliant, we're going to build a load of warships. And I guess kind of the problem was that you had industrial revolution. And I'd say that's kind of a problem. Ships were essentially made of metal. You didn't need all that wood for shipbuilding anymore. But fear not, Swedish oak, plenty of uses. Casks for a start, you've got furniture, etc., etc. So the trees themselves haven't gone to waste, and as you've seen in the images, it looks absolutely stunning. So it's a great use of the wood there. So yeah, anything more on sort of
like cutting down a 150-year-old dead straight tree and making flooring out of it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that would be amazing, wouldn't it? Dried cranberries on the nose. That's interesting, Dave. I liked that. I've never smelled dried cranberries before, so I couldn't relate to that one, unfortunately, but that does sound pretty interesting.
I don't quite get there with the dried cranberries.
Like I said, mate, I couldn't tell you if it was or if it wasn't, because I've never smelled dried cranberries before. So that's that. I mean, guys, that's the thing about tasting notes, You can read the back of a box or the back of a bottle or what someone else is, or listen to someone else, If you've never had that experience of that particular flavour or smell, you're not going to be able to relate. So tasting notes are very, very personal, guys. Whether that reminds you of your granny's Christmas cake or, your mum's gingerbread pudding or whatever like that. Do you know what I mean? There's 1,000 other things that it can be. It's personal to you.
Yeah.
So Stuart's definitely getting more spice notes from the Swedish oak. But are you still talking about the Ether, or are you actually tasting Svensk Jaktlycka at the moment, Stuart? Because old Stuart then decided to posh himself up by going for one of our moment ranges with Ether.
Yeah.
So tasting notes are very, very personal, guys. What you smell and what you taste relates to you, what your experiences are, and your memories, essentially. Does it remind you of standing in your grand's kitchen while she's making cake? Do you know what I mean? Is it, you get those sort of smells, and it's all very personal, guys. There's a few drums out there that do that for me. Svensk Jaktlycka, when I'm nosing that and tasting that, it takes me back to like one of my very first barbecues I had when I was in primary school at a friend's house. Do you know what I mean? It's nice. That initial very, very first smell. It's the first time, probably about 9, 10, potentially even 11 years old.
Yeah.
In my pal's back garden. Do you know what I mean? He was one of the posh kids that didn't have to live in the high rises and stuff like that. At the garden, his dad's cooking and stuff like that. And you just smell, that charcoal burning through, and you're getting that smoke, and then you put the meats on, and the fat cooking off on the top of the coals and things like that. Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
evokes that for me. But we'll talk about that in a bit. But the point is that don't let anybody tell you what you should and shouldn't be tasting or smelling. Tasting is personal. If someone says they get green apples and you don't, it doesn't mean your olfactory is broken. It just means you get something different, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's the Svensk Ek in a nutshell, really.
So
lovely, spicy, oaky.
While we polish off our Svensk Ek, and we pour our Jaktlycka, good old Connor in the background for us is going to play us a wee video of our chief nosing officer Angela in the forest of Sweden for our brand new release to the market and our next dram on the lineup. Jaktlycka, take it away, please, Connor.
There's something absolutely magical about the Swedish forest. I love the treasures that I find just stepping out of my office a few meters outside of the distillery. So Grythyttan Wine are a great partner to Mackmyra. We love their natural wines. The taste of this wine that gives the taste to the whiskey is subtle, soft, light fruitiness and fine spice. And it goes really well together with the aromatics of the Swedish whiskey. The Swedish innovative finish together with the Swedish oak, that is a perfect combination.
What a fun video that is. You know, I do love what I've seen that video loads of times and I still enjoy watching it. Do you know what I mean? That must have been fun. So I had to have a wee chuckle during the video because Phil's comment came up when the video was playing as well. That he's getting sauna on the nose. I'm a bit scared.
I mean, I'm digging for sauna.
Yeah, no, you know the experience, brilliant, not a problem. But I don't know if that's a good smell or a bad smell. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So Phil, if you can let us know if that was from Svensk Ek or if you just got it from opening Jaktlycka, that would be fantastic, Phil Levy. Thank you. And if smelling like a sauna is a good or a bad thing, can we have a bit of context on that, please, Phil?
Context is everything, definitely.
So, guys, Jaktlycka, again, 46.1%. Jaktlycka means happy hunting.
Yeah.
Guys, don't, you know, if you're that way inclined, please don't get all bent out of shape. Happy hunting doesn't necessarily mean going out shooting elk and all that sort of stuff, yeah? It's literally, you know, have fun foraging, you know, the berries, mushrooms, and, you know, going out and exploring into the forests and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So, happy hunting, Jaktlycka, is a Swedish single malt whiskey that celebrates autumn and the treasures to be found in the ancient Swedish woods. So, you know, foraging, guys. An engaging trail of blueberries and lingonberries is revealed as the whiskey was predominantly matured in casks that previously held a Swedish berry wine from the craft producer, like Angela said, Grafan. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly. That's why I like watching that video, because she pronounces Grafan properly. So hopefully, hopefully I'm doing it justice. The essence of the whiskey is our elegant recipe, so our non-peated recipe, aged in casks of saturated American oak between 30 and 100 litres, so small casks. Saturated Swedish oak between, again, 30 and 100. Saturated ex-bourbon casks, again, between 30 and 100 litres. So what we mean by saturated is we've taken the lingonberry and blueberry wine and we've put it into those casks, I think for about 2 years, to take on the essence of that wine, to get that absorbed in there. And then what we've done is we've taken aged spirit from new and first fill American oak between 128 litres and new and first fill Oloroso in slightly bigger casks between 128 and 200 litres. So we've taken aged spirit from them and put it into the saturated casks basically, and a small handful. I don't know if anybody will be able to pick it up. Please tell me if you can pick it up, guys. Right? But we actually put a small handful of casks were from our rook recipe, so from our smoky recipe, and it gives it an inviting depth. I quite enjoy it like that. I do find it difficult to pick up the smoke, but I'm used to more heavier peated stuff. So the result of that is an expressive whiskey with a smooth, creamy texture that branches out in notes of dried fruit, berries, spiciness, raisin, vanilla. Basically called a saga toad in flavour.
Nice.
So perfumey on the nose. That's quite interesting, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What perfumes have you been smelling? Rock and B-boy with a slice of lemon. Nice. Hey, that'd be quite interesting.
Yeah.
What?
Rock and B-boy.
Nice.
It's a generational thing, that, isn't it?
Bebop and
rocksteady. Yeah. We know.
Yeah, I can definitely get in
Yeah.
there. So, John,
Yeah.
Are we gonna? That's the one.
Yeah.
But are we gonna try and team up with the people that produce Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and try and get a collab with them?
I'm down for that. Just so you know as well, Mick, I don't know if you missed it. Phil was putting context on the Sorno, saying the Svensk Ek, so the woodiness. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. Nice one. Cheers,
that makes a bit more sense for the Svensk Ek than it does for the Jaktlycka, for me personally. So yeah,
definitely. Guys, so the packaging was inspired by a Swedish painter called John Bauer. He was a painter and illustrator. His work mainly concerned with landscapes and mythology, but he also composed portraits as well. But he's best known for his illustrations of early editions of, now excuse me guys if I get this wrong, Bland Tomtar och Troll, which means Among Gnomes and Trolls, which is an anthology of Swedish folklore and fairy tales. On our, actually, there's a painting that he did, or there's a picture that he did, that we took the color scheme for the bottle box from. The bottle box is light at the top, and it finishes it up, and it graduates through those colors you can see, just to the right of your screen there, where the sun comes through, hits the lightness at the top of the trees, gets darker, and then finishes in that dark mossy green on the bottom.
Yeah.
In fact, my bottle
shows the box. Just while you're getting that, David Cummings was asking the price of the Jaktlycka. So this one's one of our seasonals range, and it comes in at $59.90. This one.
Yeah, so at the top there, you can see the light coming through into the tops of the trees. As the light starts to fade out, as it gets deeper into the forest, we get into the browns, etc., of the trees, and then into the mossy forest floor there. So that's where we've taken the inspiration for the color scheme for this particular packaging box. That back. For me, this really does speak to me about this time of year, Cole. I know we've got a similar opinion on this one, which I quite
definitely
like. And but with that, you know, it's a lot of people say, "Oh, we've got Christmas in a bottle." You know, this is our Christmas in a glass. When they talk about like heavily sherried or like port finished whiskies and stuff like that. Yeah, I love them. I do love them. We've got our own. You know what I mean? We've got our own with like Winter Soul and things like that.
Winter Soul, Winter Glod, yeah.
Yeah, so we have got our own version of Christmas in a glass, etc. But see, for me, this now. It might sound wrong, but I don't mean it to be. But it feels like and it smells like Halloween in a glass. So I don't mean it's scary, not of any long shot. If you think about this sort of time of year, people are starting to do fireworks and light up bonfires, and it's just that time of the year. Do you know what I mean?
Toffee,
there you go. There's that tasting note that I don't get because I've never tried cinder toffee before. You know? I need to start expanding my palate with all these. I need to start making notes of other people's
But
tasting notes and going out and purposely trying these things that people are coming up with.
Yeah. But again, so personally, it's that warm, slightly spicy, slightly sweet, just very autumnal. Cinnamon, yeah, there you go, cinnamon. That's again another one that sort of gets you in that kind of warming mood.
Mentioned pumpkin spice as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was this evening there, but somebody before in a previous tasting has mentioned pumpkin spice. I think that's what put Halloween in my head as well.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of going to the rugby car, obviously, as you know, and guys and girls out there. I'm a big fan of going to the rugby, and this time of the year, I do tend to pack a hip flask. And so if we'd had this pre-COVID for rugby, this I think would be the majority of what went into my hip flask, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's perfect. Yeah, Dave's definitely getting some cinnamon. That's cool, man.
Yeah. A nice Jaktlycka and some autumn internationals would be the one, wouldn't it?
Oh, that would be the order of the day, brother. Just even a club game. Yeah. I'd be happy to get into the ground, watch some live rugby. I'd be a happy man. It's very nice set on the couch and stuff because I don't have to go very far and dress up in that. Do you know what I mean? But you can't beat the thrill of the chase, as it were, and actually being there at the game.
Yeah. It's interesting as well about situational flavour profile as well, because I think your Jaktlycka now in your house, nice and warm, etc., will taste slightly different to you being outside in the cold. It's a little bit nippy outside. It's coming out of a hip flask. It's a different experience sometimes with what container it comes from, for example, and where you are situationally. And so it'll be interesting. Hopefully, when we get back to a relatively normal world, what it would actually genuinely taste like if you do pick up anything different in that kind of scenario. But
no, definitely. I think along those sort of lines as well. Going out into a fairly cold environment, your hip flask is generally made of pewter. I did get a new one for my birthday, which was a glass flask with a silicone wrap on it,
nice.
which was pretty fun.
I'd probably break it.
No, so it's got a silicone wrap on it, Carl. So I think if you dropped it, and the glass is pretty
you're good.
So you should be okay. I'm not going to test it out.
Don't test it now. Just highlighting my pre-go live clumsiness.
The curse of the cat.
Yeah.
But no, I think you can rugby and whiskey any better combo. No, they not for me personally. No. Do the Welsh play rugby? They do. Matt, I believe. I believe it's something like a fledgling sport down there, though, and they're not very good at it.
Steady on, Mick. We're here to drink some whiskey. We're not here to start any rugby wars.
But no, so you could find that maybe like the viscosity changes, etc., in your hip flask, like not very well. So obviously we put the Brooks in the freezer, and the first thing that I noticed when we poured it was the viscosity. It poured like treacle, which I thought was fantastic. As this drams has got warmer, it's got more fluid and back to what we're used to, etc. But you're probably going to find that as well, and you're going to have a totally different tasting experience as well because you're cold and you're wrapped up in. So it's all going to be very different.
Yeah.
So I quite like a wee hip flask at the rugby.
Yeah. Phil's asking. Is the Jaktlycka fully chill filtered?
No. So all of our seasonal range film is naturally coloured, is natural colour and non-chill filtered. Generally speaking, any whiskey over 46% is not colour corrected and non-chill filtered. So the magic number for chill filtration, do the Swedes? But yes, they do. I played rugby in Sweden.
Nice.
Back in my Royal Navy days.
Nice.
They played to a decent level as well.
Yeah.
They're not quite up there with with some of the bigger guns, but they're a good emerging nation.
Yeah. Big lads.
It was a good social afterwards. So.
Yeah. But you said about chill filters, so above 46%, no need.
Generally, whiskies below 46% will be chill filtered, because mind that flocculation that I mentioned earlier. I didn't actually call it a flocculation earlier. But that's the correct terminology for it.
The correct terminology.
Keep corner. So the flocculation doesn't generally occur over 46%. It's all to do with chemistry. I was just I'm not a chemist by any long shot, but all I know is over 46% non-chill filtered. Who cares? They produce some awesome whiskey. David, bang on. But spelling correction, it's whiskey without the E, my friend.
Oh, come on now. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. that's a whole other kind of fish.
So
worms
the
even.
only products that we
Kellerfish.
have that are chill filtered and color corrected are Mac and Brooks. So Brooks is non color corrected, but it is slightly chill filtered or cool filtered, as it were. So does anybody have anything else they want to chip in on with Jaktlycka?
Yeah, feel free to chime in while I'm just getting the next pour on
Please
again.
do, guys. Because if not, we shall move on to the next dram. And our last dram of the evening. Dave, because you're Irish. That's fair enough, David. That's fair enough, yeah. So it's only really the Americans and the Irish that spell it with an E. Pretty much everybody else spells it without the E.
Yeah.
So another geek corner fact there for you, ladies.
yeah. That's fair. Brackets E. So we're going to move on to our Svensk. So our final one of the evening. So this is our smoky recipe. This comes in a 50 centilitre bottle, this one as well, so over our usual 70 centilitre. One of the main reasons being is that it is more expensive to produce our smoky whiskey. We're one of the few distilleries in the world that actually still smoke our own barley on site as well. I think there's about 9 in there in total. Mr. Geek.
Yeah, there or thereabouts. There or thereabouts. If it's not bang on 9, it's not a far one off.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, the whole malting and smoking process takes place in our own facility, literally. And I love this. It's a little, it's a repurposed shipping container by the side of our new distillery as well. So you can see there, we've got the smoker at the front there, yeah, and then there's the malting floor next to it there, yeah. So literally, the barley comes in from the top, and then the peat is added to that smoker there, and it's all sort of filtered through that one there. It takes around 36 hours in total. Is the whole process. Basically, we get the peat nice and hot, and then our little Swedish twist we add to that is we actually add juniper twigs to the smoking process as well, and that does come through in the final liquid. I genuinely think that, and I'd sort of try it. Yeah, so it's something I picked out when I tried this before and learned the full backstory about it that kind of came out of it. So juniper is quite a dense, oily tree. The leaves themselves are quite oily and dense. So when it burns, the smoke is quite thick, quite intense, and that presents in the actual liquid as well. I should say that the juniper twigs we get as well, we're not just purposely going out and cutting down juniper twigs just purely for the purpose of making whiskey. During the actual maintenance of the power lines in Sweden, they do have to cut the trees back to stop them encroaching on the lines themselves. And rather than just chucking away or mulching that wood, we take it and we use it to go in our smoker to impart flavour into our whiskey. The peat we gather is all cut from a nearby place called Karen Mossen, which literally translates to Karen, the name Karen Bog. And
Sorry, 2 seconds, Cole.
Go on.
So obviously we all know the big craze for, I want to see your manager type
Yeah.
Karen. Can you imagine that, like a bog just full of Karens?
Oh no, let's not. Sorry if anyone named Karen is listening as well. I feel for you. Yeah, but no, I don't want to think about a bog full of Karens. If being completely honest with you, mate,
would be horrendous,
sounds
wouldn't it?
absolutely hellish. Smoky bacon on the nose. Yeah. Sweet, barbecuey. Yeah. Hundo. Yeah. And the peat we cut as well. So we cut essentially a truckload of peat, and literally a truckload of peat lasts us for the entire season, entire year. So there is the sort of the debate back and forth around the environmental impact on cutting peat, but we don't use a hell of a lot of stuff as well.
Barely skim the surface.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the whole malting smoking process to expect. Teeth in takes about 12 days in total, but the smoking part takes about 36 hours. So, on the nose, yeah, slightly smoky, a little bit of spice coming through. You do pull through a little bit of that peat, Juniper, vanilla, caramel, citrus and pears again. Yeah. Wow, exactly, Phil. And it's good to hear that as well about a non-aged international smoky whiskey as well. Because I'm sure everyone in here has tried sort of different Scotches, etc. This, that, and the other. This genuinely, for me, as a fan of whiskey in general, for me it was like, okay, I see what we're going for here with this. It's very unique. But yeah, on the palate, smokier than on the nose. You get that kind of slightly oily, peaty, the oily juniper note kind of coming through. Dry oaky aromas, a little bit of light tobacco, a little touch of saltiness as well. Don't know if you pick up on saltiness, Mick, in there. And then dry, smoky with little notes of salt and herbs on the back end. But yeah, for me, a very interesting expression. This one.
I mean, as peated whiskies go, it's quite mild.
Yeah.
It's not a big punch in the face. So if you were thinking about getting into a peaty whiskey before you jump in with some of the more well-known peated whiskies, give this a try first. If you're a bit, I wouldn't say scared. Scared's probably the wrong word, but it's the word I'm going to use. So if you're a bit scared of peated whiskies, because they can be quite intimidating, this is a really, really good place to start.
Yeah. You do, so there's enough smoke and peat in there to tell you it's a smoky peaty whiskey, but there's like that citrusy, peary kind of like slightly softer, sweeter side of Mackmyra is there to kind of almost hold your hand and guide you into that side of smoke. Yeah. It's not like, here you go, here's a Lafroig, for example, that's took you straight into the deep end of ash, iodine, all that real sort of fire and brimstone type stuff. This is quite a delicate yet still strong expression of smoke. Gateway peat, yeah. Campfire in the rain, I like it.
Like it.
Matt's saying probably a good accompaniment to blue cheese. I could definitely subscribe to that.
Whiskey does go really, really well with a blue cheese, whether that be a creamy blue or a Stilton. Eleanor, delicious. Think you can taste the peat a little more than you can smell it. Yeah, totally. It is quite subtle on the nose, and it does come through more on the flavour for sure, Eleanor.
Yeah.
Can't find the rain on the nose.
Nice.
Okay.
Again, casking wise as well. So we're non-aged. Again, I think we're around sort of like 8, 9, 10, roughly, in terms of age on it, which I think is a real sweet spot as well. For me personally, I think younger smoky whiskies tend to taste better for me than as you sort of get older. We'll see, I guess, a few more of them that I get to try. Casking wise, you've got American oak in there, Swedish oak, ex-bourbon cask saturated with the Oloroso. And it's ranging from 30 to 128 litre casks as well. So it is. I say it. I guess.
Casks again.
No. I say it. I guess I say it as kind of it sounds like I'm saying it as a bit of a throwaway comment, but it kind of is because we're not too focused. Like I say, we're not focused on age. We're not focused on specifically it must be this cask or that cask. If we're telling you about the cask, it's because we're specifically focusing on that type of cask. We're all about going for a flavour profile with this. Interestingly as well, one other thing I didn't add in was that when the smoky liquid comes out, it's actually at around 60 phenol parts per million. If you're really into sort of like your ppm smokiness measurement, actually our smoky distillate comes out of 60 ppm, so it's up there in terms of your Lafroigs, your Lagavulins, etc. But I think it's around about a third, isn't it? I want to say.
Just below a third. Yeah. About 23%.
Yeah, so about 23% of our smoky recipe goes into this, and that's considering how smoky it is and how much smoky it does taste. It's to say it's sort of just under a third. There's a lot of influence of that in here as well. But again, that elegant, that sort of smoother, easy to drink liquid is there to kind of again hold your hand into drinking this one. So yeah.
So guys, anybody else got any questions for Rook? Anything they want to know about Rook? No.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Richard there. Younger smoky whiskies of the jam. I've got David asking for our Instagram handles. So I am at carlos.the.mac on Insta. Mickey?
And I'm as exciting as just Mickey Plummer. It is what it is.
I don't know why I put the dots in.
I'm exactly what it says on the tin. That's just me. I'm there. We post a I would say massive amounts, but there's a few whiskey stuff in that on there, so that's pretty good.
Yeah,
so guys,
I need to get better at it, definitely.
Now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to stop wrapping up now. Yeah, let you get on with your Thursday evening. So guys, if you do log on to www.mackmyra.co.uk to take advantage of the 2 presents that we're giving you this evening, every 4 hours, Matt, the peat is tended every 4 hours. The peat is restocked, and the juniper is restocked every 4 hours. Winterglad, Laura, we'll
tune in for another edition.
That's for another edition, Paul. Definitely. Sorry. So, when you log on, Mackmyra means midge swamp. Mac being midge or small bug, and Myra, swamp.
Yeah.
So, when you log on to mackmyra.co.uk to take advantage of your shopping experience today, so VIP 10 gets you £10 off a £30 spend, and VIP 20 gets you £20 off a £100 spend. All the ones that we've tried tonight are on there, guys. We've got t-shirts, hit flasks, glasses, all that sort of good stuff as well. We've also got a section on our cask programs, so you can actually own your own 30-litre casks. If you've got the time, you want to look at our reserve cask program. If you're a bit impatient, we've also got our ready cask program as well. Yep. If you're a bit of a collector or want to know more about a history of whiskey, we've got our collector's corner as well, where we've currently got some of our preludiums on sale, which was our very, very first limited edition series of whiskies. So get yourself into collector's corner on the website as well, guys. Next Wednesday, we have our normal Wednesday show on Mackmyra Live. Carl, when's our next tasting?
Our next tasting is on the 19th of November. So that'll be our next tasting for our core range. Tune in again. More than welcome to join us that time. Let's say you're going to get more of the same from us as guys. Like hopefully a little bit of banter, some good whiskies, a little bit of chat back and forth. That's what you can expect from us.
Cool.
Ever the consummate professionals.
A couple of guys that commented there. Sorry, Cole. Just to
go for it.
Moving on to Grante next. Yes, it is amazing. But I do suggest, after having the Svenskruk, have a heavy dose of glass of water, because the flavours there are a bit more delicate, and you don't want the peat washing those flavours out for you to lessen the experience of the Grante. So, Cole, thank you very much for joining me again this evening. It's been beautiful. It's always good, sir.
It's always good to see you. I'm glad to be back on as well. It's been a little bit of a while. It's always good to see your face online. And thank you, everyone, for being so welcoming and sort of participating in the chat with us. Genuinely. Immersive, thank you. Genuinely, we love that. We love the back and forth. And we want to hopefully get out there and see some people face to face at some point in the near future. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for joining in. Make sure you use those codes, VIP 10, VIP 20. And we will see you on the next one. Cheers. Skål.
Skål.